Fake Oppo exposed. Marjan Sheikholeslami Alagha. Marjan Sheikholeslami Alagha, the daughter of Kamaluddin, was born in 1966 in the religious family of Alagha in Kermanshah. The Alagha family is Shia and non-Kurdish and are the descendants of Muhammad Bagi Wahid Behbahani and his son Agha Muhammad Ali Behbahani, a Shia cleric from Isfahan who immigrated to Kermanshah in the 19th century. In the 2000s, Marjan worked for the reformist newspaper of Subh Emruz and affiliated as a copyright holder until she became the director of the Cultural Heritage News Agency. How a copyright journalist can suddenly manage the media of such an organization without sufficient skill is something that can only happen in the shadow of the corrupt system of the Islamic Republic and the mafia network of its mercenaries. During the presidency of Muhammad Beheshti in the Cultural Heritage Organization, Alagha became the head of the news agency, and during the presidency of Hossein Marashi, she was in charge of public relations. Muhammad Atrian Far, a reformist journalist, describes Marjan Alagha as administrative and average. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad's deputy Sheikholeslami became more active after Bagai came to power. She ran for parliament for 2 terms, first as a reformer and then as a fundamentalist. Later she called the reason for her candidacy merely empirical. In an interview with Khabar Online, one of the reformists stated that the presence of Alagha as a candidate for the Participation Front was without the coordination of this organization. According to some media outlets, Sheikholeslami has been married 3 times. According to Amir Etemadi, a Washington-based political activist and former member of the Office for the Consolidation of Unity or the Union of Islamic Associations, her first husband is Majid Baghanejad. Etemadi described Baghanejad as Alagha's accomplice in bribery and corruption. Baghanejad was the managing director of Arasbaran Cultural Center for some time without having enough skills and knowledge. The footprints of Baghanejad can be seen everywhere where the smell of Alagha's corruption can be smelled. The second husband of Alagha is Ghulam Hussain Khaja Ali. He is the famous oil rig thief, former CEO of the Spanish company, a member of the board of directors of Iran Marine Industrial Company. Her third husband is Mahdi Khalaji. Marjan married Mehdi Khalaji shortly after the end of her affair with Behzad Mehrani, a political activist working on the Tawana project. Mehdi Khalaji has been a senior member of the Washington Institute for Near East Policy since 2005. Khalaji also managed the Idea Culture and Art Center. The company operated as a branch of the parent company Idea Center for Art and Culture. The company's website states that the purpose of its establishment is to introduce Iranian and non-Western intellectuals, writers, and artists to Western audiences. Studies show that the Idea Culture and Art Center was established in 2014 by Mehdi Khalaji and Marjan Sheikholeslami. In the analysis of Marjan Alagha's case, the familiar name of Jamshid Barzagar had been encountered. Jamshid, who is currently living in Europe, was the former director of the German section of Deutsche Welle, the German media, and former editor of Radio Farda, former director of the BBC Persian website and radio station, who worked for a short time with the Manoto television network. Deutsche Welle has supported the Khalaji on several occasions. Jamshid Barzagar's husband Kianush Farid Iraqi was the editor-in-chief of a media outlet owned by the Center for Culture and the Art of Ideas, owned by Marjan Sheikholeslami and Mehdi Khalaji. One of the editors of this publication is Mohammad Izzadi, a member of the Iran Farishkad network whose territory seems to have been a part of the revolutionary table. The Ventio company is also another one of Marjan Alagh's registered companies in Toronto, Canada. The company is active in the field of import, export and investment. The company has an annual revenue of $1.19 million. According to the site of Yoice, this company is one of the 12 reputable companies in this field. The company has only 3 employees and has registered 4 addresses so far. Interestingly, the company has recorded a monthly income of more than $1,000 after the embezzlement of Marjan Alagha, the owner of the company. In other words, considering the tax rate, the company earns more than $2 million a year, and this is much more than what Marjan Sheikholeslami Alagha claims, who introduces herself as an ordinary businesswoman. The company's website was registered at ventioholding.com, which is currently disabled depending on the website address. The Ventio company is only the tip of the iceberg. Marjan also owns an air and travel services company called Mahvar Parvaz. Sudabe Tahsini, one of the members of this company, owns another collection called Samin Ma. The company specializes in providing immigration opportunities to Canada. Where did this amount of money, which distinguishes her economic position, come from? In March 2018, the third branch of the Special Court for Economic Crimes announced its inauguration, focusing on the activities of the petrochemical investment company. This case had 14 defendants, the first of whom was Reza Hamzalu, and then Marjan Alagha as another defendant in this case. Hamzalu was the CEO of a large holding company consisting of 10 companies. He describes his relationship with Marjan Alagha as follows. Marjan Alagha and her husband came to my office, and after a while our cooperation started. Because of her experience in publishing, she turned to paper trading and importing and founded 2 companies in Turkey. Hetera was buying paper and Deniz was paying for it. Due to the sanctions imposed on the Islamic Republic at the time, the 2 companies were tasked with circumventing the paper's sanctions. Hamzalu himself admitted in court that the Islamic Republic had lost a part of its own forces in circumventing the sanctions with this trial. Describing Alagha's character, he described her as a veiled revolutionary and religious, and said Miss Alagha passed the filter of the Guardian Council and entered the cultural section of the Parliament. Another amendment is the case of Mohammad Hussein Shir Ali, a retired officer of the Ministry of Intelligence. After her financial corruption was exposed, Alagha reacted to this issue in an interview while rejecting all accusations. She described herself as apolitical and purely economic. When Alagha was in Iran, she was involved in the training of journalists who are mainly political. The most famous of them is Masih Ali-Najad. Ali-Najad wrote in her book called The Wind in My Hair that Alagha took my hand and mentored me through thick and thin. After the Alagha scandal, Ali-Najad tweeted that she does not consider anyone an exception, and if she feels corruption in Alagha's life, she will react to it, which never happened. On February 10, 2019, a conference was held in Toronto on the occasion of the National Assembly of Iran for free elections. The couple mentioned above had participated in this conference. Marjan Alagha claims to be apolitical, having allegedly donated money to Majid Johari, a Canadian parliamentary candidate, in 2014, according to the Shahwand website. But who is Majid Johari? In September 2016, 2 years after receiving financial assistance from Marjan, Majid Johari met with the members of the Islamic Republic's parliament and supported a petition calling for diplomatic relations with the Islamic Republic of Iran. Following the revelation of the embezzlement of Marjan, Mahdi Khaliji, who was married to Alagha in those days, declared his innocence in a tweet, while according to the website of Open Corporates, the largest corporate registration database in the world, Mr. Mahdi Khaliji's relationship with Marjan Sheikholeslami was not just marriage. To be continued.